There are a lot of games out there. Even though video games as a whole are still a relatively niche media, there's such a wide scope of forms that games can take. And those moments when you find that perfect combination picked from the universe of titles that mixes genre, playstyle, and aesthetic in a way that feels like it was developed solely for you, there's really nothing like it. Especially when you see all the little extra bits of personality the developers put into the world and mechanics just for the fun of it. I talked about examples of those very specific, beautifully personalized extra mechanics a few months ago, or a few seconds ago if you just came from that video, or not at all if you haven't seen it.
Time. Time is the key word.
And I kinda just wanted to talk about more examples because I love this idea, if that's okay with you, of course. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that's cool. Alright, nice. Roll title. We might as well start this self-serving video self-servingly with a seemingly serene favorite selection of mine, Abzu. Abzu is a science fantasy diving adventure developed by Giant Squid Studios. It was the team's debut project headed by Matt Nava and included several other That Game Company alumni in its creation. It also came out on my birthday the year it was released, and as an islander who spent most of their childhood observing or being in the ocean, I took it as the most personalized gaming experience I've had in my life. Just wanted to say that. But yeah. The main game involves you swimming through the most beautiful landscapes ever rendered, totally unbiased, chilling with an impressive variety of cool fish, and undoing a mechanized rot spread throughout the spiritual realm of the ocean which all life and beauty emerges from. Standard beach day. Yet another S-tier soundtrack by Austin Wintory definitely helps in the masterful atmospheric nature of the game. But the feel of an ever-changing, all-encompassing ocean paired with strong environmental storytelling and killer tone switches help really bring it home. It's a relatively short experience, but I still think it can be split between two arcs. There's the first half, where there are a few odd things here and there that make you go, that's a bit troubling, but the large majority of the game continues to be pretty and soothing. And then there's the second half, that I'll try not to spoil too much of here, where things are considerably more not okay, but if you find yourself missing the serenity of the early game and don't feel like doing a full playthrough again, you can use the meditation mechanic, our main subject here. As you progress through Abzu, you see a lot of towering statues with imposing presence, but every so often you'll find one of these more reserved shark ones. If you find one, you have the option to sit and meditate for as long as you want. In meditation, you can switch between and observe the different species swimming in the current zone, or you can just let the controller idle and it'll switch around for you. In idle mode, the UI gradually fades away as well, offering an even more relaxed feeling. And whenever I do a real replay of Abzu, this is something that always happens. Whoa, oh my, okay, how long have I've been sitting here for like 20 minutes, okay. After you discover a meditation spot, you can revisit it anytime, even after fully completing the game. They also carry over into a new save file, so if you start over to do the story again, you can still pause at any point and fast travel to a meditation area without having to re-unlock it. It's wonderfully accurate for a science fantasy setting as well, from the super specific type of reef life that are found in particular environments right down to showing which species are typically friendly or hostile to each other. It's a lot of care put into something completely optional, but in my experience, the meditating is also seen as an integral part of the game for Abzu players. Because of that, it feels weird to say that this mechanic wasn't necessary, but there is definitely a hypothetical version of Abzu that's still so beautiful and impactful without it. It just feels integral because the meditation mechanic is so well integrated into the overall feel of the game. And I love Giant Squid Studios so much more for it, because I don't think this mechanic would have been a natural thing every developer would have even thought of. Trying to be unbiased has been completely defenestrated, I'm sorry, it works so well and it's super cool. And for this next one, we're going to increase the ratio of skippability to my love of the mechanic even further. Let's cover the part of a visual novel cafe simulator that doesn't help you make drinks or advance the story. Coffee Talk was developed by Mohammed Fahmy and the small team at Toge Productions and first released in early 2020 to a world that had no idea it'd soon desperately need its respite. In it, you take on the role of a barista who operates a nighttime cafe in a mythical fantasy world where the average customer is a generally nice person. Oh yeah, there's also fantasy creatures like werewolves and orcs and stuff. You interact with a revolving cast of regulars and attempt to heal their struggles in life by providing a helpful ear and warm drinks to ease their minds. I say attempt because it's entirely possible to do such a bad job at making drinks that you single-handedly make their lives worse. This is because of the unique way that Coffee Talk activates story routes with the types of drinks you serve people at different times as opposed to a traditional dialogue option system. The patrons give you descriptions of what they're craving, ranging from detailed flavor or mood profiles to just straight up names of real drinks. How well you match each request is a kind of mini-event that alters the preceding conversations and ultimately the characters' stories moving forward. As the days go on, you're able to learn more about the lives of the local, and one very not local, alternate Seattle people, as well as the state of the world at large. There's a great mix of heavy discussions, oddly soothing mundane small talk, and wonderful awkward moments to discover as each character plotline unfolds and intersects. But every day, there's also the ever-present opportunity to ignore the customers for a while and look at phone. Your in-game phone has 4 apps available: Tamagotchi, Brewpad, The Evening Whispers Stories, and Shuffled. And I'll get this out of the way. Brewpad specifically can be pretty important since it collects recipes for new drinks you unlock and comes preloaded with a few to help you in the early game. But the other 3 are pretty much all for flavor. Tamagotchi is a social media app that's updated as you meet new customers. It first just displays their most basic data, but if you continue serving them correctly, it unlocks 2 more tiers of information. Again, since story routes are triggered by drinks, none of this info could, say, be used to make proper choices later like in other narrative games, and I love that. It's just a cool way to expand the characters and enhance your perspective on them as a player. Lua apparently speaks French. This doesn't come up elsewhere, but I think it's pretty cool to know. The sequel game, Hibiscus and Butterfly, gives a little upgrade by offering an interactive status update section that combines references to in-game plot developments, as well as little musings that don't get mentioned again. The Evening Whispers is a daily short story app from the local daily newspaper of the same name, which you also get to see some headlines from at the start of each day for a little bit of added world building. You get a new short story of varying lengths every in-game day written by the character Freya Fatima. You can read them at any time, and they even get archives so you can revisit previous ones later if you want. They can get pretty detailed too. It would have been so easy to just make some little write-ups to fill the space, but you can tell just as much care was put into each one as the rest of the dialogue in the game. For this one, the sequel has the stories credited to Ralia Amat, the actual Toge production staff member who helped develop episode 2. The last app, Shuffled, is a music app that normally just plays the soundtrack throughout the game, but allows you to skip or select specific tracks you want to play as well. They're all credited to the fictional artist Eremi Gendrew, which is a mix-up of the real-life composer's name, Andrew Jeremy. It's just another detail that makes the game feel a little more immersive with its inclusion, especially when you've been listening to the soundtrack in real life and then listen to it again while you're playing. In the next game, you get a sleeker UI with the ability to favorite songs. This one also has probably my favorite addition in episode 2, which contains a plotline where the character Rachel ends up doing a collab with Eremi. This brings up a humorous conversation acknowledging how the barista character exclusively only plays him in the cafe for some reason, and it's a cool reward if you took note of the Shuffled app up until this point. Much more rewarding than the ability to make latte art, which is never rewarding for me because I suck at it, but damn it, I'm gonna keep trying every time. Speaking of internal struggles, this is a good point to transition to our final example, the ultimate standard of skippable but so very charming pair of mechanics found in Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time. Lawakot, as nobody calls it, is a fantasy action RPG based off of an anime property, so compared to the last 2 entries, you know there's a lot more going on here. That also means there's a higher chance of being copyright claimed, so fingers crossed that you're actually getting to watch this right now in the first place. The Little Witch Academia franchise is based around the character Akko Kagari and her journey at Luna Nova Academy to hone her magic skills and discover all the secrets of the craft. If you like witch stuff, I definitely recommend the anime or at least one of the short movies, one of my favorites for sure. The game itself takes place somewhere within the continuity of the first season of the anime. It tells a side story where Akko and her friends, mostly Akko, accidentally unseal the titular chamber and become trapped in a time loop of the first day of summer vacation. After a couple cycles of denial, the team accepts what's happening and begins to work on solving the mystery of the chamber to bring back time to its normal flow. In doing so, playing as Akko, you have two main playstyles you switch between. First is exploring the labyrinth in Lunanova Academy, finding clues and other items of interest, and interacting with the various characters in it. The second involves crossing into a series of dungeons where the game becomes this chaos. Throughout the experience, you take part in classic time loop hijinks like surprising people by knowing things that haven't happened yet, and butterfly affecting various scenarios by messing with the events of the day. And of course, it involves a myriad of classic action RPG mechanics like side quest stacking, spellcasting tied to physical components, party synthesis, equipable item drops, constellation-based weapon-specific skill trees, okay, a separate currency-based item enchantment system, time-locked quests depending on where you are in the current loop and in the alright, but I ain't gonna explain all that because I just need you to know that there's also two mechanics called Mumble and Eavesdrop. Mumble gives you the ability to listen to Akko contemplate out loud anytime with the press of a button. Typically it serves as a reminder for whatever your current objective is, which is funny to me because the current objective is always displayed at the top of the screen anyway, but A+ Games thought it right to give us the option to hear it in the form of an anxious complaint as well. And I said it typically serves that purpose because sometimes you'll press the mumble button and Akko just says whatever. It'll still be related to what you're currently up to, but it's just more of a commentary that won't really help you. But even then, there are a few instances where she just does something like this. Okay, I guess that's it. Eavesdropping is similar, but this one is more of a passive mechanic. Whenever you see these red marks around a group of people, it means they're having a conversation that you can eavesdrop on. Once you get close enough and stop walking, Akko automatically starts listening in. Like with Mumble, you might hear something important to progressing the game, and there are even situations where it's a necessity to do so. But there are many, many more times where it's just a normal, mundane conversation like this. Or straight up nothing at all. Usually with dual mechanics like this that are sometimes important and sometimes just flavor text, the balance skews heavily towards it being important way more often. Having it be flipped for this setting just really works to me, because it feels so genuine to Akko's character, along with so many other details like it that really make you feel immersed in Lunanova. That being said, I definitely can't say for sure if someone who hasn't watched Little Witch Academia would enjoy this game, but that's kind of the intrinsic risk of a licensed game, I suppose. If you end up trying it because of this video without watching the source material, let me know. I'd be curious. And as always, let me know what you think of the other games here and extra little mechanics you enjoy. And let me know your favorite bird and fish if you want as well. Stuff like that is interesting, right? I've always been fascinated by shoebills and mud skippers myself. Thanks for watching.